Hi everyone, I'm Tom, and today I'm going to be showing you Capital Lux 2 Generations, which is on Kickstarter right now. You can click the link in the corner of the screen or in the description, and that will take you over to the campaign page where you can see all of the final stuff, because this is a prototype. You can see, it's just roughly printed out. These are going to be lovely circular tokens. The artwork for the characters is pretty final. The colours might change a bit. They're going to have proper card backs and everything. You get it, don't you? It's a prototype. It's just going to give you an idea of what the final thing is going to be like. And as I always say for the Kickstarter videos, I was paid to make this overview. So Lux over here and the surrounding areas that are our home bases, they're in a big state of change, and there are 4 different families that all get along, but each area wants to be the best. But the Emperor's rule is that, as well as improving your own areas, you need to send some good folk over to the capital as well. What this boils down to for us is, we're going to have hands of cards with these different families on them, of different colours and different values, and we are going to be playing cards to our home base for pure pointage, and we're going to be playing them out to the capital, so that we're able to keep those cards and get some special bonuses, and earn even more points along the way. At the start of a round, we will deal 6 cards to each player. So I'm just set up for a 2-player game here for the purposes of showing it all in one tight little shot. So you get 6 cards, and as I mentioned, they're going to be part of these 4 colours, and they're going to have different numbers and values on them. We're going to have a nice little draft, so you would take 2 cards, pass them to your left. In a 2-player game, they would keep 2 cards and pass me the rest over, and we would keep going until we each had 6 cards, but they've been drafted and we get a bit of choice. It's not just luck of the draw from the deck. So now we have these 6 cards. The first player will start, as you might expect, and you'll take turns playing cards. Now you can either play cards to your home base, or you can play them to the capital. Now, playing them to your home base means that you're going to get this many points if they're still there at the end of the game. There are 3 rounds. One thing to be aware of is, though, at the end of each round, if your total of a particular colour is higher than the total in the capital, you lose all of those cards. So you have to strike up a balance between putting all the most valuable cards down here so you get the most points, but also putting some cards up here so you'll be able to keep them at the end of the round. And you'll also get special bonuses for playing up there as well. It would be daft just playing all of my greens out here because there's no greens in the middle. And unless I'm convinced that someone else is going to put some out there, I would lose all of these at the end of the round. But playing red would be quite safe, although as powers and things mess around with the cards, you're not entirely safe. You can never be quite sure. So when the round starts, we have 3 cards out here to give us some idea of what is in the capital and give us a basis to get started with. That's a little tweak from Capital Lux 1. You only had 1 card out there. But we have these power tiles, and this is another change from the first game. In the first game, these were the powers. They have been tweaked a little bit since the first game, but these were the first game's powers. There are now 4 powers for each colour. So a total of 16 that can be played as sets. So this would be the A set, which is recommended for your first game, or if you're unfamiliar with Capital Lux. So you can play them in sets, or you can just mix and match them. So you've got 256 possibilities of when you're combining these. And they changed the game up in quite a big way. So just looking at the A set we've got out to start with, if I really wanted to get some blues out, I'd lose them at the end of the round unless I played some out to the capital. So I could play them out to the capital, and every time that I do, we have the Agent's ability here. Now, the Agent's ability involves these tiles. These tiles can be -1, 2, 3, or they can be +2 or +4. We shuffle them all up and put them in a stack. When you play a card to the capital that's blue, you get to draw the top Agent card in secret. So this is a -3, and you can put it over any of the colours. So if it's a colour you're not bothered about, you haven't drawn any cards of, say, yellow, and you can see that other people have built a load of yellows in their home base, so it can be a little bit mean. You can put that in there, and then as the round goes on, all of these might get played down, and then the totals, to determine whether or not you're allowed to keep all of your cards in your home base, the totals will adjust based on which of these tiles have been played where, and you can play multiples out to the same place. So if you get a plus, you'd probably want to put that out to where you've got a load of cards, so your max would be increased without you having to play a load of cards over there. You can save your played cards out for your home base instead. When playing to the cleric over here in the pink, you can look at any of the 4 districts in the capital, take the lowest numbered card, and put it into your home base. It can't be the card you just played, but I could, for example, take this 3 away here. We've still got a total of 6 in the capital, and I've got 5, which is, under the total, and you are trying to keep under that maximum, but you're also trying to have the most of each colour as well for bonuses at the end of the round. Playing out to the merchant would get me a gold token, and there are other ways of earning gold tokens. They're worth 2 points at the end of the game, but when it comes to determining whether you have stayed within the max, you can spend a gold token to increase the max of any colour by 1 just for you. And finally, playing to the Scholar out here would let you draw another card from the Citizen deck into your hand. Now, we keep going until somebody has played all of their cards. As soon as that happens, everyone else gets 1 more turn. If you've got more cards left over after that, they all get played out to your home base. So it's not necessarily a great thing to be drawing loads of extra cards, because if I hadn't planned properly, I could potentially be dumping a load of things out that would take me over the total, and as the game goes on, you might end up losing loads of cards by accidentally going over the total. At the end of the round, we check to see if we've stayed in the total, so the total is 6 of blue, none here, 5 here. Here the total is 11 of pink. We've got 7 here and 2 here. That's all fine. For yellow, 6 is less than 8. I haven't got any. And then for green, max is 8. We've got 5 here and 8 here. So nobody would lose any cards. Remember, you lose all of the cards if you go over that maximum. But then we look to see who has got the most. So I would have the most blues. You get the highest valued blue into your bonus pile. So there's no max to worry about here. I've earned myself 6 points for the end of the game. So you would kind of know as well that 6 is the blue one is a really good one to vie for, because it's got 6 points for the person who's got the most. Similarly for red, Marty would have the most red here, so he would get the 5 card into his bonus pile. Yellow is also Marty, so he would get the 5 there. And I've won green, but I only get 3, because that's just the most that's out there. Now moving on to the second round, first player switches to the left, and then we draw 6 cards each again and have another draft and play another round of it. But now these cards stay out. The cards we already have in our home base that we didn't lose from going over the max, and the cards that were left after the highest value was taken away to the winners of each category. So that will happen again at the end of round 2. The most value card will go to the player with the most. And then we play one more round. It all happens in the same way. Draft 6 cards each. Don't go over the max. Player with the most of each colour gets the highest valued card. And then at the end of the game, all of your surviving cards from your home base are worth the value on them. Everything in your scoring pile is worth the number of points on them. And every piece of gold is worth 2 points each. The player with the most points wins. And that, in a nutshell, is Capital Lux 2. You can play solo. You have a little display of cards here. You're playing against a dummy player called Rob, and you draw cards from this deck to determine which of the 2 cards he's going to choose, and it's going to advance the rounds as he goes along. Your aim in the solo game is to win, of course, to beat Rob, but also the greater difference in your scores, the better rank you will achieve at the end. But then, as I mentioned, this isn't the only set of power tiles in the game. So we've seen all of the A's. Let's have a look at the B's. So the B set is called Revolution, which is the Infiltrator, the Doomsayer, Followers, and Converter. The Infiltrators give you this deck of Rebel cards and this Rebel flag over here. The Infiltrators themselves are valued at 1 to 6. You shuffle them up as their own supply, and you put the flag in the blue district. Now, when you play a card to the blue district and activate the power, you draw the top card of the Rebel deck, and then you may move the flag anywhere you like. The Rebel card goes into your hand, but any Rebel cards that you play have to go in either the capital or your home district where the flag is. So at the moment, I would only be able to play it to a blue section, but when I took a Rebel card, I would be able to move the flag around a bit. Also, if the round ends and you've still got a load of cards left and they're Rebel cards, tough luck, they've got to go where the flag is. Pink is Doomsayer. We have these Doomsayer tiles that are shuffled and put into a pile. Every time somebody lays a card out here, they activate the Doomsayer ability, and we draw a Doomsayer tile. So this would just be a nice 1. As we keep playing, though, and revealing more tiles, If the total ever reaches 5 or more, that would be 4, that would be 5, you discard the lowest valued card from each district in the capital, and then you shuffle up all the Doomsayer tiles and start again. The follower, simple, get an extra turn. For the converter over here, we get an extra 3 cards in a display. You would probably have it a bit further away from everything else, but yeah, I'm trying to show you everything as zoomed in as possible. This is the converter display, and when you play a card to the green converter, then you choose a card from your hand and place it in the display, and then you can take all of the cards of one colour that has to be a different colour to the one you played. So if I played a yellow out to the converter display, I could get both of these reds if I wanted. So that's set B. Let's quickly have a look at set C. Now set C is called Harmony. We have the Recruiter, Missionary, Aristocrat, and Discoverer. So playing a card to the Recruiter out in the blue here, we have the top card face up, and playing out here lets you take the top card and place it in your home district. So it's not in your hand to be used later or messed around with. Playing to the blue, which you might have to do, you know you're going to end up with this card, which might push you over, so it adds more push and pull to that. When you play out to the Missionary, you're allowed to take a card from any district that has a lower number than the card you just played, so I could pick up anything that's less than a 5. So I could grab one of the 4s if I wanted, and the total, in this situation, the total would be massive, and I've only got a 2 in my home base, so this would go into my hand, hopefully go out here later on. C is the Aristocrat. And when you play something out here, you can take one of these Aristocrat tiles. Now, this is basically going to double a card. It can be anywhere out in the capital or anywhere in your home base, but it has to double it. So, I could put this 6 on a 3 card, and if I really wanted, I probably want this, the green limit to be more. I've got 8 in here, and it's only 3. So now it's 6, so I've gotten a lot closer. Or on the other hand, if the limit was already massive here, there's a load of red out here and I've only got 2, I might want to double this red out here. The little snag is there is only 1 Aristocrat tile of each value, 2 to 6, and once they've been used, they can't be used again that round. Tiles on the capital cards stay until we've determined the max, and the tiles on your home base cards only stay until we've determined who has the most. They're not going to matter for, final scoring. And finally, for the Discoverer, this is why I've had to elbow one of the home base sheets out of the way. This depends on the value of the card you played to the Discoverer. If it's a 2, then you can move your rocket 1 space forward. If you've played a 3 or a 4, you can move it 1 to 2 spaces. If you play a 5 or more, then you can move it 1 to 3 spaces. It's up to you. If you were to land on somebody else, though, you have to go 1 in front of them. The space you land on is going to determine a special ability, and it's either going to be draw a card from the citizen deck, draw 2 cards from the citizen deck, activate the blue, red, or yellow power tile, as if you had played there, or if your marker is on one of these points shields going anywhere from 3 to 12 points, if your piece is on the shield at the end of the game, you'll get that many points. And finally, we have set D. This is the Anarchy set. Now, the Outsider, the Rebel cards are back. We have an Outsider display of 3 of those Rebel cards, and we each have an Outsider card to the right of our normal home base sheet, which is basically an extra district, the Outsider district. When you play to the blue, you can take a card from the display and put it in your Outsider district, or you can exchange a card from the display with one that's already in your Outsider district. Now, this is another thing to score at the end of the round. Your total of your Outsider cards can't be more than the maximum of any of the other 4 colours. If it's higher than any of them, you lose all of those Outsider cards. If you have kept them, though, to determine who gets the bonus, whoever has the highest total of Outsider cards after that can choose any card in the capital as a bonus card. Pink is Mentalist. Lynn is a Mentalist. We have a pile of face-down Mentalist tiles, and when you play something here, you get one of those Mentalist tiles onto your home base sheet. You can use these tiles instead of taking a normal turn. They take up your whole turn, but you could do things like Capital Transformation. There's loads in here based on the different colour configurations. This lets you move the lowest valued card from the green into the yellow instead, and then carry out the power of the yellow district. Or this one is Home Base Transformation. It would let you move a card in your home base to any other district. It doesn't matter what the colour of the card was originally, now you can mess around with it thanks to these mentalist powers. The Sentinel lets you grab a gold token and place it on a card in your home base. So I might want to place it on this 5, for example, because when we resolve and check that we haven't gone over the max, if you have gone over the max, like I have here, you spend the gold that you already placed on the card to cover the value. So for the purposes of resolving the max, it's worth 0. But also for the purposes of determining who did the most of a particular colour, so if Marty had the 6, for example, I would have won normally. I've got 8, but because I've covered it up so I didn't have to discard them all, Marty would now win the bonus instead and take the thing into his scoring pile. You then return the gold token that's been spent to the supply. Every unspent gold token on your cards at the end is still worth 2 points as normal. And finally, we have the Duelist. We have a Duelist deck here. When you play here, you get the top Duelist card, and the Duelist cards are all, as you might expect, lovely dual cards. They go into your hand, and they have the same number, but this card is blue if played to the capital, but yellow if played to your home base. If they're still around at the end of the round when you have to lay down all your extra cards, they all go by their home base colour. So that is all of the 16 powers that are in the game. And remember, you don't even have to play in the sets. You can mix and match these to your heart's content. You know, have more in that mess around with other players if that's your playstyle, or have fewer of them if you don't want them in. So there you have it. That is Capital Lux 2 Generations overviewed. If you'd like to know what I think about the game, then you can click the link in the description or the corner of the screen, and I'll take you to a little video where I say that. There are also plenty of other videos on the channel if you fancy watching a playthrough of maybe more games from a porter, for example, like Santa Maria, or The Magnificent, or Avenue. Or there's about 350 more on the channel as well. Whatever you do, thank you for watching this, and I'll see you for the next game. Bye, everyone.